Welcome back to OpenLine. We are talking with elder law attorney Tim Takis about caring for an aging loved one, or maybe caring for yourself as you age. What are some of the things you can do to plan for that? Several calls. Let's go to Carl first. Hello, Carl.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Yes, I'm 67 years old, and 15, 20 years ago, I worked for a Hoover's rock quarry company, and they took out 401k on me. I wanted to know what I had to do. Is that still good on me, or do I just wipe that clean or whatever? What I got to do about that?
Okay, so Carl, you have a 401k?
Yes, I did have.
Okay.
I'm disabled now.
All right. So what happened to the money? Do you know?
No, I don't. I haven't heard anything about it or anything.
All right.
How long ago did you leave the company?
It's been about 15 years ago or more.
Oh, wow.
And how long did you work for him?
About 3 years.
About 3 years. Okay. All right. So Carl seems, I guess he's convinced that the company that he worked for was taking money out of his check. Sounds like, you know, and some sort of, it would not be a pension plan. You know, a pension plan is that you work for, typically you work for maybe 15 or 20 years, and then you become vested. You know, and then that's like the old time, you know, like
right.
When my father, you know, he worked for DuPont for so many years, and then he was...
Those are pretty rare now.
They are pretty rare. But it sounds like in Carl's case, he realizes that they were taking money out, you know, and it was going into a bank account or a 401k plan.
And he would decide how much was taken out. I mean,
yes,
it sounds,
typically.
you know, usually they say,
right.
Why don't you take out certain percent, and the company will match certain
Right, and he probably did. He said, okay, I'll do this. You know, and it sounds like to me that the company, if it's truly a 401k, you know, he needs to go back to the company.
Yeah.
You know, find out what, you know, and because they owe him money. That money's still sitting there.
When you leave a job, when you have a 401k and you leave a job, what happens to the 401k? 401k
follows him. I mean, I've had employees who have been worked for me for several years. I mean, we have a 401k plan, you know, and they have put money in, you know, and they have moved on, maybe retired or decided or did something else. That's their money. You know, and you know, since I'm the plan administrator, because it is an employer plan, it's my responsibility to make sure that they get their money.
So if he can't find it, go back to the employer.
Employer, right? Because that, you know, they owe him that money.
And it becomes an IRA, is that right? Once you leave, you're obviously no longer contributing.
Right.
Does it become, what does it become?
I guess it could stay a 401k. Most people, what they do is that, you know, they want it to be self-directed. Mm-hmm. So then they roll it over into an IRA, which then is self-directed. That's when you can put it in, you know, whatever, basically whatever, like a mutual fund or a CD or a brokerage account. You know, and that's what most people do, say, when they retire.
Well, Carl, I hope you're able to find that.
I mean, I tend to think, you know, that he really ought to have legal counsel.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to, you know, or even, I don't know, just talk to somebody that, you know, talk to somebody that will do his estate planning and say, look, here's what my situation is, because, you know, if he's disabled, which is what he says, I don't know how capable or able he is to track that down for himself.
Okay.
You know, because that could be a sizable amount of money, you know, that's been accumulating, you know, and earning interest over the last 15 years.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Thank you, Carl. Good luck.
Yeah.
Let's go to.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's go to Lucy.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, Lucy.
Hey, I'm going to try to mind my own business, but I heard Carl's call, and I'm just thinking, I thought Hoover Rock went out of business. I may be wrong. But if they did, say they did, and they couldn't find Carl, would they not have to, by law, turn that over to Tennessee unclaimed property under the Department of Treasury?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Lucy, that, you know, that somewhere down the road that money is still out there, you know, unless, frankly, the company that he used to work for basically took it, you know, which is a whole different kettle of fish there. But, you know, it's clearly, you know,
yeah, I mean, that would be a quick call.
I would think so.
Well, all right, Carl, call the Tennessee Department of Treasury and see if your money might be there. That's an easy, quick thing.
Right.
But anyway, well, my question is about the IRS look back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You know, you gave an example earlier where the guy was the attorney and they did that joint title or put his father's property in his name, and his dad was paying insurance and taxes, and that on an IRS 5-year look back is considered gifting, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's a Medicaid look back is what it is.
A Medicaid look back.
Yeah.
Okay. What would and see, I've done a small estate, but what I know I've done a death tax and I've had to do an estate tax. What now require? How could the IRS now do a look back on you? Is it only if it's over like $1 million estate? Can you explain that? And I'll take your answer off the air.
Lucy, thank you once again. That was good advice you gave for
Absolutely.
Carl. Thanks, Lucy. All right, go ahead. What about?
Yeah, well, what I was thinking is, for one, is that to my knowledge, the IRS doesn't have a look back, like at least that I'm familiar with. You know, and because really for long-term care costs, people are often looking to the Medicaid program to cover the cost of their care. And the Medicaid program has a 5-year look-back period. So if you give money or property away, you know, with the expectation that, well, I'm trying to make sure the nursing home doesn't get it, you know, or so that I can qualify for Medicaid, then, you know, you've started a 5-year look-back period, which means that you can't get Medicaid for 5 years, you know, unless you can get the money back, you know, so that now you got it. You know, and you can't qualify for Medicaid because you have money or property, potentially. You know, and I think that's really what we were discussing. You know, so there's no like limit of $1 million, or there's no, you know, there's nothing like that we look at.
She's talking about the death tax.
Yeah.
That's a certain amount of money. That doesn't affect a lot of people.
Yeah, I think what maybe what Lucy's referring to is that if you give away, let's say that you're on your deathbed and you're going, you know, I'm sitting over here with a taxable estate. You know, I've got $5 million or $8 million or whatever, and the taxable there's no Tennessee estate or inheritance tax, but the federal estate tax is about $5.5 million. So let's say you're sitting over there, lying there on your deathbed with $8 million, and you know, and they're going, you know, if I die next week, you know, then my estate is going to have to pay taxes on $3 million. Well, why don't I just give it away now? Now, I confess to not being an expert on that.
That might be, yeah, we don't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, maybe I should, but I don't, you know, most of my, you know, I typically don't have clients that have those issues.
Right, right. Because, yeah, we're, okay. All right, well, thank you, Lucy.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, if you want to call in, we're going to take another break. There's the number. See it right down there. 615-737-PLUS. 615-737-7587.
Right there.
Look, it's right there. You can just call right in. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.
Yeah.